minutes till broadcast. One minute till broadcast. Seconds till broadcast. Five, four, three, two, one. Begin transmission.
Fighting for freedom every day.
Let me tell you, the response to the show has been absolutely amazing. People can't believe that a young conservative millennial continues to fight for constitutional principles, traditional values, and talks about issues that some are even afraid to talk about. But we do it because we understand the importance of this. And now we're seeing it absolutely blow up all across the nation.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Darn right it is. Hey, welcome into the Voice of Reason. It is a Monday, kicking off a brand new week. Are you excited? I'm excited. I know you're excited. Welcome in as we have so much to get to, and I really don't know where to start today. We have the end of the Democrat National Convention. We have the kickoff of the Republican National Convention. We have a shooting in Wisconsin. We have Republicans going for Joe Biden. We have Democrats thinking that's a good thing. We got Kellyanne Conway. Too much to get to. We'll try and cover it all here on the show. Welcome in. It's a Monday. Great to have you along for the ride today. Broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here on the flagship station of the Big Talker KQAM in Wichita, Kansas, all over the country on radio, TV, live streaming with Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, on the website at HooserReason.com, which it is up and running there as well, as we are broadcasting with Stackline Communications in conjunction with the Hooser Media Network, making it happen, doing the thing each and every day. Thanks for hanging out with us no matter where you may be. Let's go ahead and start off with the grumpy stuff first, shall we? Why not? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's grumpy, but it's just tiring, exhausting, fatiguing. You know what I'm saying? We have shootings, we have protests, we have looting, we have justifications of it, we have cops doing things we don't. You would think after a certain amount of time, after a certain amount of cases that this happens, you would think that we would say, let's not look at a 20-second video on social media and think that we have the entire full picture here. Now, I'm not saying what the cops did in Wisconsin were right in any way, shape, or form. I'm not. However, we don't know the full story. Now, there are a few rumors floating around there. Nothing's confirmed as of yet. But if you haven't followed it, the individual that ended up was walking around the vehicle, the cops pointing the guns at him. He opened the car door, was leaning inside to grab something, and they ended up shooting him. They said the gunfire was like 7 different times. He's in the hospital right now in critical condition. Not sure if he's going to make it or not. His kids were in the vehicle, a gal in the middle of the street jumping up and down, crying hysterically. We don't know anything other than that. That's what the news is saying, and they're reporting it, of course, at Evil Bad Cops. Now, because of that, that apparently justifies people to go looting and burning and crazy, tearing down the entire city. What we don't know is the rest of the story, as they say, right? We don't know what the rest of the story actually looks like. All we see is a 15 to 20 second video of a guy walking around the car with guns pointed at him from police, walking behind him opening the door, him leaning into it, and then them firing the gun. That's all we know. We don't know what led up to it. Andy, it doesn't matter. They still shot him. You know what? I've heard a rumor that he had a knife. I don't know if that's true or not. There was another video online, social media, floating around earlier today as well of a crazy guy, looked like he might have been drugged out or something. He was walking around with a knife looking to try and get somebody. And there's about 10 cops surrounding him with firearms as well. And instead of shooting him, they run him over with a car and knock the knife out of his hands when he's on the ground, and then they pounce on him and arrest him. That would be the ideal situation, and I would be okay with that too. I don't know what his problem was or what his scenario was either. We don't know the full story. What I do know is that we have a guy that's shot in critical condition. The National Guard is now called out because the violence is so bad in this town of Kenosha, Wisconsin. Now let's start from the top down, shall we? First off, the governor there is handling it terribly. Democrat Governor Tony Evers said 125 members of the National Guard would be in Kenosha on Monday night tonight with responsibility for, quote, guarding infrastructure and making sure our firefighters and others involved are protected. Okay. I really miss Scott Walker up there. Anybody else? Show of hands. Anybody miss Scott Walker up in Wisconsin? He was a fantastic governor. Not the most conservative guy, and he's kind of gone on the wayside a few different issues, but overall, solid guy. I mean, he was relatively conservative. Don't get me wrong. He fought the teachers' union hugely, which is why they tried to kick him out of office 3 different times, and it didn't work. The teachers' unions thought they had enough power, didn't have enough power. Scott Walker got rid of the Common Core education, pushed back on some of the public unions. He was a hero. Didn't win his reelection, however, so he had to move to the wayside. Now we have this Democrat governor, the pendulum swinging on the other side, which seems to happen in many states. Once you kind of go through one administration, people get tired of it. It swings the other way. The pendulum goes back and forth. They'll do that. They're happy for a while. They're angry for a while, and they'll switch it back over. Happy for a while, angry for a while. So now we have a Democrat governor there. At least they're sending in the National Guard. We got to give him credit for that. At least he's sending the National Guard, because most states right now wouldn't do that. In Seattle, in Washington, in Oregon, they wouldn't do that right now. They'd be like, oh, it's just a place of love. They were cold. They needed to burn down buildings to stay warm. It's justified. Everything's all right. But let's talk about the incident for a second, shall we? When are we going to learn that we need more information before that? Now, to some people, that's enough. They're looking for something to be angry at. They already have this premeditative notion in their mind that cops are bad, so anything we see that cops do, then they're already handling the issue terribly. So therefore, no matter what happens, the cops are wrong. There's no justification for it whatsoever. The guy was reaching into the vehicle, and they shot him. His back was turned. They shot him in the back. Now, I got to say that is a little bit on the weaker side to trying to defend the police, is shooting a guy in the back. However, again, rumor has it, and again, this is not confirmed. This is just the conversations I've been seeing on social media. Haven't been able to find any other this information. Is the fact that he said he was reaching for a firearm in the vehicle, and if that were the case, then the cops would be justified in shooting him, because if he was disobeying, first off, let's remember the very first step here. They have at least 2 to 3 officers with their guns drawn on this individual. He is not stopped. He is not abiding by their wishes. He is walking independently, in spite of the police, around the vehicle to open the door to reach in and grab something, when obviously when you have 2 or 3 cops sitting there with their firearms drawn upon you, you probably shouldn't move. That's the first mistake. Now, of course, it doesn't matter to the left. It's justified. He has a right to continue to disobey police. He has a right to continue to fight against law enforcement. He has a right to do that. That's what they say. So it doesn't matter. Right there, end of story. It's justified for him to act out. And then, oh my gosh, I am now a victim when I end up getting in trouble, or when I get hurt, or when I get shot because I disobeyed law enforcement. I don't understand that concept. Most people don't understand that concept, because most of the time, when especially firearms are drawn, then you get a little sketchy and you're just like, all right, what do you want me to do? Now, the ones that we've seen on social media where they are obeying and the cops get a little trigger happy because they make maybe a jerky movement because they're kind of scared and jittery or something. All right, you know what? Unjustified. I've had not a cop draw a firearm on me, but I've had one reach for that just because it was a funny story, actually. We were here at the radio studios, and there was an incident a few years back in the general vicinity here, and I was doing high school football late at night. It was about 11 o'clock at night. We got done with our high school football coverage, and I was walking out of the building, and at the same time, I was the only one in the building. I was walking out of the building. Lights are all turned off, locking all the doors, making sure the studios are all locked up and everything. I'm walking out. 3 police cars come swarming into the parking lot of the radio station. And I'm saying, oh, I thought that they were just pulling somebody over from the side of the road or something. I didn't know they were actually there for the building. And apparently they said that they had received a phone call from a number that was registered to the studios. And when they answered it, that it was a girl screaming. And it was a 911 call. And they came up, hands on their firearms, wanting to talk to me as I'm walking out the front door. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. There's nobody in the building. It's a radio studio. I'm here doing a show. And but just that, the fact that they had their hands on their sides near their firearms, concerned about a woman screaming, calling 911, that was a number registered, and come to find out it was just a misunderstanding. It was another building or somewhere else. They traced it wrong or something. I don't know. But just that itself means you don't make any sudden movements. You make very simple yes or no answers when they ask you questions. You explain what's going on. They did a little sweep, and everything was fine. Everything was fine. That's how you do it. You don't try to disobey them. You don't argue with them. And when they have their guns not only on their hips waiting to be drawn, but actually drawn and pointed at you, you do not continue to walk around, throw a fit, open up a vehicle, and threaten the cops. It doesn't work that way. But again, it doesn't matter to the left. It doesn't matter. They want the ability to have anarchy. They want it. The move came after protesters set cars on fire, smashed windows, clashed with officers in riot gear last night over the wounding of 29-year-old Jacob Blake, who is hospitalized in serious condition, according to the Associated Press. Kenosha became the nation's latest flashpoint in cities of summer racial turn unrest as police shot and wounded the black man, apparently in the back as he leaned into the SUV while his 3 kids were in the vehicle. Why was he moving? That's the big question. I mean, is anybody that has logical thinking, that would be the first question. Why is he moving? Why is he walking around when the cops have him drawn with firearms? Legit question, right? But we don't want to ask questions. Because of that, there's police brutality. We're going to loot stores. We're going to burn buildings. We're going to burn down our communities because we're so angry and we want justice. I still have a hard time understanding that mindset. I still have a hard time understanding the logic behind that. We get it. If you want to fight for equality and justice, if you want to fight to try and weed out the bad people, if you want to fight for something, number one, be educated, be informed, understand what's really going on, and do it the proper way. I don't know how you could organize something this quickly, so I'm hesitant to jump on board of like the organized protesters being bussed into the area to cause havoc. Maybe, but I have a hard time doing that because it was such a quick turnaround here. And some I know are always going to go down that road, but I have a hard time trying to go down that road here. These people are angry because they just want to watch things burn. They have so, I don't know if it's COVID. I don't know if it's the quarantining. I don't know if it's just we've hit that point to where everybody's just on edge. Everybody's livid. They say, they try and blame Donald Trump for this. It's under his administration, but what does Donald Trump have anything to do with something like this? What does Donald Trump have to do with the looting and the burning and the stealing of someone, of businesses and of buildings in a community because a cop acted inappropriately if he acted inappropriately in this situation? I don't know. I don't know the situation. I would have loved, here's my instant, you want to know my instant reaction when I saw this video? Before I even saw them shoot him, before I even got to that part of the video when he opened the door and the cops reached in and started shooting him, before I even saw that moment, I saw cops having their handguns drawn at him and him walking against their will around the vehicle. And my first instinct was, wow, I wish that one would just beat the living snot out of this guy to show a little more respect. Not like kill him or anything, but just, come on, dude, show some respect. because I saw the video prior to that where the guy, white guy, by the way, was walking around with the knife trying to go after police, and they ran him over with a vehicle. Good for them. That's what should have happened to this guy. Because we need to learn respect again. And 99.9% of cops will give an individual respect if they give respect to the officer. That's what hopefully could have happened in this. Again, not sure. All alleged. Just like George Floyd. Oh, look at them. Killed him unneedingly, gasping for air. Then you saw the full video when it was released of the fact that he fought cops the entire time. That he was having a panic attack when they put him in the back of the vehicle in the first place. He was already having a panic attack and said he couldn't breathe. It goes deeper. There's always more to the story, but for us to have such reactionary reactions, per se, over a 15 to 20 second clip on social media without understanding it, you would think at some point we would actually learn our lesson and go a little bit deeper. But the other side doesn't want to. They're just looking for a reason and a justification to do what they've already planned on doing, so it doesn't matter to them. Lots more coming up here on the show. We got a lot to get to today. Stay tuned.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hoosier-holic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hooser Media Network, visit us on the website at HooserReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Now, back to the show.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Yes, you are. Welcome into the Voice of Reason. 24 minutes past the hour. Thanks for hanging out today on the Voice of Reason. Radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting, Podbean Live. Doesn't matter where you're at. Trying to cram 10 pounds of reason into a 5-pound bag. Trying to rebrand the millennial generation, one radio listener at a time. I don't want to spend the entire show on this because we have a lot of other things to get to, including the Republican National Convention and some things going on with the White House. But I do want to wrap this conversation up real quickly. And to clarify what we mean when we're like, oh, I want to beat the you-know-what out of this guy. Look, one thing that boils me, sets me from 0 to 60, just like that, are a few things. And that is people showing disrespect to other people. Those videos of shaming people that are veterans or shaming people that are disabled or, shaming elderly individuals, bullying them on the streets. It shows disrespect, and that burns me up beyond belief. I hate that beyond belief. That's the one thing that gets me going. That gets me so angry. So angry. And that includes when you have authoritative figures that are saying, hey, for everybody's sake, to go smoothly here, just comply. We'll work it out. We'll figure out what's going on. And yet they try to fight, and then they play the victim when things don't turn out well. That burns me up beyond belief because people honestly apparently are that stupid to try and play the victim after they disregard the rules. Oh, no, I don't have to follow those rules. How dare you tell me what I can and cannot do? That's that selfish left-wing progressive mentality that's ruining this nation, and that's what's going to cause a lot more issues in this nation. Had a message from Matt on social media about the right way. What can you do? The right way? What do you mean the right way? Instead of burning and looting and protesting, what do you mean the right way? How can we address these things? I've said this many times on the show, and I'll continue to say it because these are the best ways for us to actually address these issues. Number one, if you don't like police in your community, then you can do your police community without defunding police, but prove to the law enforcement in your community that you don't need them. If you truly want community-based policing, then do it. Then do it. When someone does something bad, don't look the other way and be like, oh, it's our community. We don't, snitches get stitches kind of thing. No. If someone did something bad in your community, they robbed a house, they robbed a store, they hurt somebody, they beat somebody up, whatever, instead of calling the cops, you know what? Turn them in yourself. Community policing, do a community arrest, and turn them over to law enforcement yourself. And like, you know what? We found this bad person in our community. They're not doing the right thing. Get them out of our streets. Take them to cops. Don't call the cops to you. Do it. Do your own community policing. After a year of you cleaning up your place and there's no issues and cops realize, well, we haven't had to go to this zip code in a while. Guess what? You've already beat the police and you've defunded them by not having them come in to your area anyways. You already won. That's number one. Number two, join the force. I've said this many times before. If you don't like the community relations with law enforcement in your community, then join the force and be part of that representation in your community because you live there. And you can be the one wearing the blue, going out there, serving your community, and being part of your community to connect those relationships between law enforcement and the community. It's a very simple way. We've had many law enforcement across the nation say, hey, if you don't like the way we're doing things, why don't you come join the force and work to fix it, and you can actually be that representation on the force. Number three, and the progressives hate this one, fight against the public unions. Fight against the public unions. The public unions have one thing in mind, which is representing and defending their, supposed to be defending their clients, which is either the police or the firefighters or the teachers. And I'm not saying all of them are bad, but I am saying is that one reason we don't get full transparency on certain issues, one reason we don't sometimes get a lot of body cams, a lot of times we don't get a lot of more information on an investigation going is because the public union is protecting their client and not allowing a lot of that to move forward. Fight against the public unions. Public teacher unions are probably the worst thing in the world. Why? We've said it before, when they have to go purchase their own products out of their own pocket in order to put resources in their own classroom. And then the teachers union gets mad because Donald Trump cut out their tax breaks for those resources in their tax returns, instead of saying, you know what, maybe the teachers shouldn't have to buy their own resources in their own classroom. Then you got an issue. Fight against the public unions. There are tons of things we can do right now to solve these issues without burning down an entire town, because that's the dumb way to do it. Lots more coming up. Stay here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of the Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
The Hooser Media Network is way more than just the voice of reason. It's your source to find numerous different online talk shows, podcasts, TV, and radio programs, all in one simple online location for you. From political talk to health talk to whatever you may be interested in, we're here for you. And I tell you, it's growing every day. Catch Tracy Maxfield with her podcast Engage, Educate, and Empower, discussing mental health issues in children and teenagers. From bullying, teenage suicide, addiction, ADHD, and so much more, learn from Tracy and her guests about symptoms, signs, and ways to talk to your children, plus so much more. Having battled depression, being the author of the internationally acclaimed book Escaping the Rabbit Hole, and being a retired nurse, Tracy is kind of the go-to on the subject. Make sure to find her on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, along with her website at tracymaxfield.com. Also, make sure to tune into the weekly podcast Jump, Pivot, and Roll with Shannon Stiles and Rachel Murphy. Taking that next big leap of faith is hard. Trying to write a book, maybe struggling with a relationship, looking to take that next big career step. What's stopping you? There's a lot of big questions there, and they're questions that Rachel and Shannon want to help with you each and every week. It's Jump, Pivot, and Roll on any of your favorite podcasting sites and on Facebook and YouTube. All of these shows and a heck of a lot more can be found on the Hooser Media Network Facebook and YouTube channels. Make sure to follow and subscribe to check them out today. Follow all the shows, and if you have any inquiries, check us out at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. And I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network.
When Reason Meets Radio. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, welcome back into it. Great to have you along today on a Monday, kicking off a brand new week. That means you got a whole week of opportunity for you to do something awesome, no matter where you may be, no matter what gender or identity politics left-wingers like to say. Your gender, your skin color, your heritage, your sexual orientation, I don't care. You got a heck of an opportunity for you. Why? Because we're in a land of equal opportunity, not equal outcome. That's what it's all about. Welcome into the Voice of Reason, radio, TV, live streaming, wherever you may be. I want to shift gears a little bit away from that issue because it's bothersome. We don't need to talk about it anymore. The left are going to burn down things and justify the reasons they can burn down things and watch society burn, man, and restart it over and burn the Constitution, man. But yet, they enjoy the freedoms that they actually get underneath it. So we'll just sit there and watch them use their hypocrisy left and right, which, again, that's the Democrat base right now. Or that's what wants to be the Democrat base, and the Democrats are trying to embrace it, while at the same time, they're so fascinated about trying to embrace the Republican support for Joe Biden. I don't know what their fascination is there either. I think they're trying to look more moderate, and it's making them look really foolish. They have right now people burning down buildings, burning down cities, looting stores, attacking cops, attacking people in certain communities because they're privileged, because they have more than they have, and they feel really jealous about it. They're totally jelly, right? Bernie Sanders, are they totally jelly?
It is totally absurd.
Oh, okay. So they're looting, going into communities, burning stores, burning buildings, burning cars, attacking police because they have a right to do so. And they want to be the face of the Democrats. The Democrats just kind of look the other way and say, okay. At the same time, they're trying to embrace Republican support for Joe Biden, trying to look more moderate, like they're going to be the ones that can reach across the aisle, the ones that can work together. Because Donald Trump, of course, can't work together, which you know is foolish. You know it's not true. He's a business guy. He's not a political ideologue. He doesn't stick to one political agenda, some philosophy that he sticks to, and regardless of everybody else, he works with everybody. He's like, I'm a deal maker. I'm a business guy. I like to make deals. I like to make things happen. I like to shake and bake, baby. And if you come up with a deal and you put it on my desk, more than likely I'm going to sign it. It's got to be reasonable. And you know what? The other part is he actually tries to counter and negotiate. Whoa. Now, that's something that Barack Obama didn't want to do. Why? Because he was an ideologue. I mean, you have to look at just face terms here. Barack Obama was an ideologue, so which means he had an agenda. He wanted his agenda, and if there was any deviation from the agenda, he would sign an executive order, or he would veto, or he would sign based on what came to his desk. Donald Trump doesn't care. He's not an ideologue, which can be good and can be bad. He's a conservative. He's a Republican, so more than likely he wants it to be on the side that's going to make him progress in the way that he wants to and the way that his voters want him to go. But at the same time, he's willing to compromise, to give a little bit, to get a little bit, because that's the way, number one, politics is. Number two, that's the way business is it not? That's the way we operate. You don't get 100% of all you want all the time. Just ask your significant other. Now, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that's what you do in a relationship, right? You compromise. If you're hardlined 100% you all the time, your significant other's not going to like that very much. You need to compromise. When you're in business and you want to buy a building, or you want to construct a project, or you want to do something, or you want to buy a business, you negotiate the terms, you negotiate the contracts, you negotiate the price, you negotiate the goodies that go with it, you negotiate all of it. And sometimes you get some good stuff, sometimes you lose some stuff. That's the way politics goes as well. And by the way, this is a message that goes on both sides of the aisle, because we have some conservatives as well that are either we want everything or we will run off that cliff and we will be proud holding that flag all the way to the end and vote libertarian or vote third party, because by golly, we want all of it or we don't want anything. Either you give us everything or you're a tyrant. And I can appreciate the sentiment, and you have to fight for that as hard as you can, but at the same time, you have to give a little bit, right? If you're in sports, let's use a sports analogy for just a second. If you're in baseball and you have to swing, you have your swing, you have it 100% down, you know your format, you know what you do, but you also have to give a little bit on where the bat goes so you can hit the ball, right? If it goes higher or if it goes lower, you have to adapt just a little bit and loosen your form just a little bit in order to make that connection. For those of you who don't watch baseball, then you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. But that's a good way to look at it. You have to compromise. Donald Trump compromises. Not to compromise, and there's good and bad compromise. We've forgotten the term of what compromise actually is, and I know I'm going down a rabbit hole for just a second, but we've forgotten true compromise. Republicans in the last 10 years or so, their compromise is we present a bill, Democrats laugh at it, they present their bill, and we say we can't do anything else, and we just sign off and agree with it because we can't do anything with it, right? That's what Republicans have done with their quote-unquote compromise in the last 10 years. We've forgotten how to compromise. By negotiating, you say, yeah, that's not going to work. We'll give you a little bit of this, but you also have to include some of this as well. Republicans don't do that anymore. We've forgotten that. Donald Trump's bringing that back, and that's why so many Republicans don't like him, because he's doing things that they've tried to do for a long time and haven't been able to make happen, and therefore they're jelly. Totally jelly. Right, Bernie Sanders?
It is totally absurd.
Yeah, okay. Making sure. So now we have 27 Republicans that have come out publicly and endorsed Joe Biden as the presidential nominee that they're supporting as Republicans. And the Democrats love it, and the media loves it. Why? Because they're showing that they're inclusive, the umbrella's widening, people are moving over to the Democrat side in order for him to gain support. And they're desperate to show that because, number one, they have a fringe radical burning down cities right now. That's not good PR going into a presidential election. Number two, we have states right now that are in contest with Trump gaining in the polls. As soon as Kamala Harris ended up joining the ticket, the black and Hispanic vote dropped 10 to 15% from Biden and gained on Donald Trump's side. Because apparently people are smart enough to realize that Kamala Harris is not the first black woman. They're smart enough to realize that she's not the progressive in the law and order sense that they want, with the burning down the streets and hoorah, let's tear up the Constitution, because she's a prosecuting attorney, and realize that she's hypocritical on pot smokers. She's hypocritical trying to throw black people into prison because they smoked marijuana and extending their terms in prison, by the way, too. So she's not gaining any favors to the radical movement and to the side that was hoping for a radical left progressive. Yes, a woman. Yes, of minority descent. That's nice. They check off those boxes. But she's kind of gone against the will of that crowd that wants her to be that. So when she got nominated, poof, numbers went down. Now you have states like Minnesota, where actually it's in the gray area where it's a toss-up. Minnesota. This is the state with Minneapolis where they defunded the police. This is the state where you have crazy radical congressmen and women like Ilhan Omar and a very large Somali population, which there's nothing against that, but they're predominantly on the left side of the aisle, not usually the most constitutional conservative types. That state's in a toss-up now, according to the latest polls, for Donald Trump over Joe Biden in a crazy radical state like that. The one that had Jesse Ventura out there, to put that in perspective. That's why they're desperate to bring in the law and order types and to try to bring in the Republicans. If they can bring in a few of the moderates, a few of the independents, a few of the middle-of-the-road types that don't know which way to go, then they feel that they're actually going to win because they've widened their umbrella enough. They've gone so far to the left over the last few years, they've forgotten how to go back to the middle. Joe Biden's trying. But he doesn't remember what he's saying anyway, so he's having a hard time. But as far as they've gone, the Republicans, I've been critical over the last few years of Republicans going to the center, trying to widen their umbrella too far, and really compromising on our values. Which, going back to the compromise discussion, that's what it's all about, isn't it? There's a difference in compromising values as opposed to compromising on legislation. You can find a way to not compromise your values while you try and negotiate the best legislation to meet those values. Even if you get only 20, 30, 40% of what you were wanting to get, that's still better than the zero you would have had if you didn't get anything done. And even if you're moving one step forward and one step back, you're still fighting the fight, and that's what we have to continue to do. And Republicans lost that ability a long time ago. Donald Trump's bringing that back. Why I think he's getting so much support across the nation, why I think he's going to win in another landslide, because of the fact that he knows how to compromise, negotiate, and be able to fight for what's right, while still trying to make things actually happen without putting the flagpole in the ground and saying, this is where we stand and we're not budging whatsoever. Because there are a lot like that. And some have surprisingly have called me a moderate because of that. And I'm not a moderate. You know me. I'm about as conservative as I can get. I'm also a realist. And I understand that sometimes you can't get it all, so you try and get as much of it as you can and continue to move forward because we fight another day. We have to start using, as conservatives, the more FDR style of doing things in increments in long term in order to gain back our victories, because we're not going to win every battle. So therefore, we need to pick the battles and be able to move forward in a long-term war. That's what we have to do. And that's why Donald Trump's doing it. And now we're starting to see that in many state polls where it's a toss-up. It's a toss-up. But Republicans, nope, don't like that, nope. We have Jeff Flake that has announced one of the 27 members, and I'm not even going to list all of them because it doesn't matter. The other ones, I don't even know who they are. But Jeff Flake was the big one that made the news today, endorsing Joe Biden as a Republican. The fact that I think that he's the greatest guy ever. And he had an op-ed in medium.com. I don't even know the site. But it goes through about being a Reaganite, and even before Donald Trump was a Republican, and all the uncertainty in the nation, and all the tearing apart, and all the division. And that's why Joe Biden is going to be the greatest president ever. And I may not agree with him. Here's a little excerpt of what Jeff Flake had to say. That's why we need Joe Biden. If we've learned anything over the past 4 years, it's that character matters. Decency matters. Civility never goes out of style. And we should expect our president to exhibit these virtues. I've known Vice President Biden for 2 decades now. I served with him in Congress for much of that time. He's a good and decent man. I haven't always agreed with him, and there are with many policies on which we will disagree in the future, and that's okay. The steadiness of leadership and the health and survival of, I almost said health of Joe Biden, but that's not what he said. The health and survival of our democracy, those things far supersede the policy issues over which we might disagree. And this is much I know. With Joe Biden as president, we will be able to preserve the civic space wherein Republicans and Democrats can go back to merely disagreeing about issue policies without fear of revenge or reprisal. Is that Republicans doing that, or is that the Democrats? I'm pretty sure Democrats hate Trump and call him the Cheeto and the Orange Man and burning down streets because they say they want to revolt if he's still president. I think that's the left side that you're endorsing,
the voice
right?
Of reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Miss part of the show? Don't worry worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station.
We're here for you.
Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com.
Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. And I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the program today. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite podcasting sites and have the show automatically downloaded to your phone or computer every single day. Just find us on any podcasting site or go to HooserReason.podbean.com. And be sure to check out our Patreon site, become the ultimate Hooserholic, and help us fight for conservative values every day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Now back to the national broadcast of the Voice of Reason.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, welcome back into it. Last segment. It's hard to believe it goes by way too fast. Flies right on by, but we're wrapping up a Monday. We have a lot of great guests coming on throughout the week. Today, we were going to have a guest, but it's nice to chat a little bit, just you and I doing our thing, the way we always like to do. We have guest lineups the rest of the week, though, so you're not going to want to miss a single one of them. Plus, we're still working on getting Trump's campaign manager back on the program, as they were going to come on Friday, then called and said, oh, by the way, the time we're supposed to do the interview, yeah, he's flying with Vice President Mike Pence. He's in the air right now, not able to do it. I said, oh, all right. So we're rescheduling that. We'll get him on the program here relatively soon. Until then, though, hey, Joe Biden, how you doing, buddy?
I want to be clear. I'm not going nuts.
All right, just saying. Right now, we have the Republican National Convention. That's kicking off tonight. And it's funny because I went to the website a few minutes ago, 2020GOPconvention.com, and the website was down, which means that probably so many people tried to go on that it crashed. It's back up now, but you can see the list of all the speakers and everything. I'm excited. Now, while the Democrats had a completely virtual thing, Republicans are doing, I believe, like a quasi. There are some people actually there at the convention. So there's actually a crowd there, which will create a little bit of energy, and that's nice. But here's the difference between the Democrat convention and the Republican convention. Republicans are united. Oh, yeah, we're united. We see Donald Trump. They didn't even pass a platform, which is getting criticism, by the way. The Republicans didn't pass a Republican platform. We already have a platform. Lower taxes, limited government, leave us the hell alone, just let us do our thing. Less regulation, less spending, just get us back on track and let us do our own deal. What they did do, however, was they first off nominated officially Donald Trump to be the candidate again. They also nominated just his platform of what he is pushing for as a president. That shows unity right there. And by the way, it was passed by a relatively decent margin. The entire convention over the next few days has, something to do with Trump. We have Donald Trump Jr. speaking tonight. We have First Lady Melania Trump speaking tomorrow. Eric Trump speaking tomorrow. Tiffany Trump speaking tomorrow. Vice President Mike Pence speaking on Wednesday. Laura Trump speaking on Wednesday. And then Donald Trump speaking on Thursday. Dana White speaking there, too, from the UFC. That's pretty cool. I didn't see that before. By the way, Ivanka Trump speaking there as well. So just about every Trump is speaking throughout this entire week. They're making it a rally behind Donald Trump. Now, think about that as the media has been trying to tell you that Republicans are losing support of Donald Trump, that we have 27 members of the Republican Party endorsing Joe Biden for president because the Republicans are torn with Donald Trump, trying to tell you that agriculture and farmers are losing support for Trump, that many Republicans are shying away from Donald Trump when at their own convention, they're not passing a platform per se of a Republican platform. We have a Republican platform. They're going to keep it, and they're going to embrace the platform that Donald Trump has laid out, which is create jobs, try and kill off the coronavirus, try and stimulate the economy, try and deregulate, try and cut taxes again. He's already doing it. It's what he's been doing. But these lineups are amazing. If you want your fuel of, let's get pumped up and charged up again, just look at the speaker list for tonight. And I was going to try and play a little bit live as we have, right now they're not even doing it, so they're doing live streams of showing other clips or whatever. So we were going to try and play some live, but tonight they've had Jim Jordan, congressman from Ohio, fantastic guy who's been all over all these different investigations and different committee hearings. We have Nikki Haley, former ambassador to the United Nations. Awesome. We have Charlie Kirk. We have Kim Classic. I don't know if you've heard of her. She's out of the Boston area, and she is running for Congress as a conservative, a black conservative woman. I know, right? They don't like her very much. She's speaking tonight. We have Donald Trump Jr. as well. Tomorrow, we have a heck of a lineup. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, First Lady Melania Trump, Rand Paul, those libertarians trying to bring them back into the party, which I think is very much needed. Eric Trump, Tiffany Trump, and others. We have Vice President Mike Pence on Wednesday. We have Laura Trump. We have Kellyanne Conway, which, by the way, we didn't even get to that. Kellyanne Conway saying she's leaving the White House and assisting Trump after all these years because of her daughter, who's throwing a little fit because she is a progressive, whiny, you know what, and saying that her mom's abusing her, her dad's crying because Trump's an evil racist, and Kellyanne fighting for what's right, saying, you know what, I got to focus some time on the family. So good for her, and hopefully she can straighten out her daughter. She needs to be one too, where she needs to have some time at home and seriously think about what's going on. Take that phone away from her. Stop letting her tweet and acting like a little brat and treat her like a child that she is. Until then, we got a lot of stuff going on tomorrow. We'll continue to follow the Republican National Convention. Until then, be your own voice of reason. It's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. This is The Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hooser. Podcast going up a little bit. Appreciate you hanging out with us each and every day. Until then, everybody have a wonderful Monday evening. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with The Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great